Imagine you walk into a room where everyone is screaming for a piece of the spotlight. You naturally track the loudest voice, right? You think that's where the power is. But while you're busy monitoring the noise, you're missing the most dangerous person in the building. It's the one who isn't saying a word. Here's the thing nobody tells you. In a world obsessed with visibility, silence isn't a sign of weakness. It's a psychological, tactical advantage. Why is it that the people who say the least often end up holding all the keys? Picture a meeting at work. There's always that one person who has to dominate. They interrupt, they exaggerate, and they stack point after point like they're trying to build a wall of words to hide behind. They're chasing that dopamine hit of social approval. The same way a sports fan screams at a TV screen they can't actually control. They think they're owning the room. But then there's the quiet person. They aren't bored or scared. They're doing something much more clinical. They are observing. While the loud person is performing, the quiet person is performing what psychologists call deeper encoding. They're noticing who avoids responsibility, who's just echoing a fancy job title without any actual competence, and who's about to crack under the pressure. They are collecting data points while everyone else is just making noise. Wait, it gets weirder. This isn't just a personality trait. For a lot of us, especially the latchkey kids who grew up in empty houses, we learned early on that being visible is being vulnerable. If you grew up in a high contingency environment where you had to figure out your own problems without a smartphone or a parent hovering over you, you developed a mechanical intuition for human behavior. You learned that the less people know about you, the safer you are. So, when a quiet person finally does speak, it isn't a thought spiral or a guess. It's a precision strike. They've spent the last 20 minutes mapping the room's hidden motives and detecting every inconsistency. One sentence from them can expose a whole situation, because they weren't busy trying to be the main character, they were busy being the architect of the conversation's reality. Actually, it's rarely random that people mistake quietness for shyness or a lack of confidence. But that's the twist. Some people are quiet simply because they don't feel the need to bask in reflected glory or hunt for external validation. Their self-concept is already calibrated. They know who they are, and they don't need the room to sign off on it before they act. In the Gen X worldview, if you have to tell everyone how powerful you are, you've already lost the psychological high ground. Silence also creates an unpredictable environment. When people can't read your frame, they can't manipulate you. The loudest person is predictable, you know their ego, you know their triggers, and you know exactly what it takes to shut them down. But the quiet person, they're a blank slate. That unpredictability creates a form of social optimal arousal that makes other people nervous. They start filling the silence with their own secrets just to stop the tension, handing the quiet person even more leverage. So, how do you handle this insight? First, stop underestimating the invisible person. Pay attention to how they listen. Are they tracking the logic, or are they tracking the ego? Quiet people usually reveal their strength through timing and emotional control, not volume. Second, if you are the quiet one, stop confusing your silence with a flaw. Your ability to observe before reacting is your emotional armor. You are the bridge in the room, the one holding things together while everyone else is just performing. Third, realize that real authority doesn't need a loudspeaker. It needs a clear read on the situation. The goal isn't to own the room, it's to understand it better than anyone else does. The reframe is simple. Quiet people are dangerous because they are harder to read, harder to manipulate, and they see the pink slips coming before anyone else has even noticed there's a problem. The real power isn't in speaking more, it's in seeing more. You aren't missing out on the human experience by staying quiet, you're just playing a different game. One that might just have much higher stakes. If you grew up figuring things out for yourself in an empty house, you know that being a participant in your own life matters more than being a spectator to someone else's drama. Subscribe to join the people who prefer the quiet truth over the loud performance. I genuinely appreciate you being here.